All right, guys. So after a couple of reviews, I see a lot of people were actually mentioning Game of Thrones. So we're going to talk about Game of Thrones. Today, we're going to talk about the top 5 psychological strategies used in the Game of Thrones to maintain control over the kingdom and the people. 1. Manipulation and deception. Characters like Cersei Lannister, right? Littlefinger, and Varys masterfully employ manipulation and deception to achieve their goals. They use tactics like gaslighting, emotional manipulation, and spreading false information, propaganda, to influence others and maintain power. This strategy is rooted in psychological principles like the fundamental attribution error, where people overestimate the role of a character and underestimate the impact of situational factors. So, because this person might not be a threat, you have forgotten that the circumstances surrounding you and this person are still a threat. This is how people handicap themselves. They short sight their own psyche. So check it out. 2, social influence and group dynamics, right? Group think tanks. Okay, so leaders like Daenerys, Jon Snow, and Tywin Lannister, they leverage social influence and group dynamics to maintain control. You saw that throughout the series. They use techniques like persuasion, social norms, and group cohesion to build loyalty and obedience among their followers. This strategy is based on the psychological principles like social identity theory, okay, where people derive a sense of belonging and identity from group membership. I go to Planet Fitness. I go to Powerhouse. I drive a Tesla. You see? Check it out. Here's an example. The Daenerys used the speeches and public demonstrations to inspire loyalty out of the people and devotion amongst her followers, particularly the Dothrakai and the Unsullied. Now, this is an example of social influence and group dynamics. She was always cold with that. I ain't gonna even hold you up. So now we got power dynamics and intimidation. Characters like Ramsay Bolton, the Mountain, Greyjoy, they use power dynamics and intimidation to maintain control, right? They employ tactics like physical violence, threats, fear-mongering to subjugate others and assert their dominance. This strategy is rooted in psychological principles like the concept of power distance, where individuals with more power tend to dominate and intimidate those with less power, just because you know what comes with offending this person, like a king or a president. Example, Bolton used his use of physical violence and intimidation to control his subordinates, including Theon Greyjoy, is a great example of power dynamics and intimidation. They showed this throughout the series. 4, emotional intelligence and empathy. Leaders like Tyrion Lannister, Jon Snow, and Arya Stark used emotional intelligence and empathy to build relationships, understand their enemies, and make informed decisions. Right? Hold on. Hold up. Okay, here we go. They employ tactics like active listening, empathy, and self-awareness to navigate the complex social situations and maintain control. This strategy is based on psychological principles like emotional intelligence theory, which it positions that individuals with high emotional intelligence are better equipped to navigate social relationships and achieve their goals. Think about it. Present famous people, celebrities, politicians, yada, yada, yada. Example, Tyrion's use of empathy and emotional intelligence to build a relationship with Bronn, right? His loyal companion. And in this example, it's an example of emotional intelligence and empathy in action. 5, strategic alliances and networking. Characters like Varys, Littlefinger, and Cersei form strategic alliances and networks to maintain control and expand their influence. They had to. They use tactics like building relationships, exchanging favors, and forming mutually beneficial partnerships to achieve their goals. This strategy is heavily rooted. It's heavily rooted in psychological principles like social exchange theory, where it positions that individuals form relationships based on mutual benefits and reciprocation. I told you, you are only as valuable as the things you bring to the table, even in real life society. So, basically, let me give you another example. So various networks of spies and informants which provided him with valuable information and influence across the Seven Kingdoms is an example of strategic alliances and networking in action. All of these people are like they're basically like all a part of the spider web. They're all every little string on the big spider web, they're all connected. Okay, so now these strategies demonstrate how characters in the Game of Thrones use psychological principles to maintain control over their kingdom and the people, often through a combination of manipulation, social influence, power dynamics, emotional intelligence, and strategic alliances. A lot of people keep bringing up the 48 Laws of Power. Robert Greene wrote that book how long ago? I've been read that. This is all subconscious pool, being like understanding people, intuition, previous study. I'm able to look at these shows, and particularly these ghetto gangster shows. I'm able to look at all of this stuff and see who's using carnal desire and manipulation. They show you in the show. So for a lot of you people who keep bringing up the 48 Laws of Power, that's cool, but how does it actually apply? You know what I'm saying? Do you see how these things apply as a hybrid across all of these television networks in their scripts? Straight up, you can see the manipulation. It's certain television shows. But again, it's TV shows like Power, Game of Thrones, right? Queen of the South, BMX, all of these different shows, they teach you how to build a network, how to maintain the kingdom, and also how to control people massively. But I want to appreciate y'all for watching. I hope you stayed to the end. Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate the support. You already doom scrolling. So for you, this is a small gesture. But to me, it means the world. I love you.